I would love to throw some dice and kill some orcs, but combat is only 25% of the book 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, and there are some things that we have to do first. In this video, I want to talk about the world where this campaign takes place, and how to generate a campaign using the book. You can generate the whole campaign using only the 5 Leagues from the Borderlands book. But don't worry, we'll be killing some orcs by the end of the video. This is Ingoren, a world which I designed. This is the city of Grandosha, a majestic city with classic fantasy castles. This is the fortified city of Invidia. We will talk about the other places later in the campaign. This is Titus, the barbarian from Grandosha, the Butcher of Gnolls, my avatar. Exile from Grandosha, Titus wants to go south and slay the Medusa. This is why the band is called the Snake Hunters. Our adventurers are here and want to travel south. The 5 Leagues from the Borderland book is full of tables to generate your adventures, enemies, treasures, and all the necessary things. In the preparation section before the fight, page 75, first thing you have to do is to travel to a nearby settlement or town. We will travel to Invidia, and the percent roll is 3. Nothing happens, so good. Step 2, I have to pay the upkeep cost. You can also heal band members, but I don't have to do that. So for a band of 6 members, the upkeep cost is 1d3 gold, and I roll a 1. Then, in step 3, you can choose one of the 15 activities to do on a town. I chose to help the guards defend the town versus wolf and drunks, so I get my upkeep gold back. I also chose to hunt with a d6, and I gain 1d3 plus 1 rations for a total of 3 rations. Step 4, you can buy or sell equipment, which I will skip. In step 5, you can look for connections on the town, so I will roll a percent roll. On a 73, I am given a contract. The source for the contract is a secret group, and the actual contract is to locate an item. The reward is 3 adventure points. On step 6, you can choose your own adventure, so I will invade some orcs. Now we can start generating our enemies. The book calls them threats. There are 6 to choose from. I chose my enemies based on my miniatures collection. The book asks you to pick foes within, which are the foes that are near your cities, and foes without, which are farther. For the foes within, I chose Whispers from Beyond, the Undead, and the Gnawling, which are the orcs, goblins, and gnolls in my campaign. For foes without, I chose the Faceless Kingdom, and I have no idea what kind of monsters I will face. You don't have to choose each and every detail when starting. The game asks you to separate those foes into 2 level 5 threats and 1 level 6 threat. This means that you have to eliminate the same type of enemy 5 times in order to clear an area from that threat, if it's level 5. I also decided that my first encounter will be a camp raid against some orcs nearby, which according to the dice are near an old tower, which I will use as terrain. Our heroes are Titus the Barbarian, Running the Witch, Garrod the Crow Thief, and Tortor the Half Giant. They are followed by Grush the Dwarf and Juvi the Savage. The objective of this mission is to hold the field and wipe them out. Let's fight! So, this is our first battle for 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. The orcs are defending this loot, this mountain of weapons, and I am fighting 6 orcs and 1 lieutenant with crossbow. Heroes have to be located at 12 inches plus 2d6 roll, which is a lot. I roll a 5 and they are out of the table, so rules say I should just put them on 1 inch inside the table edge. In this scenario, the heroes can infiltrate 4 inches, and see if the closest enemy detects them on a 2d6 -1 for the cover. All the heroes managed to move 4 inches, and then the followers at the top were able to infiltrate a little bit closer. The dwarf got detected, so the normal combat turn starts. To start a turn, you roll a d6 for each hero and assign them to the heroes. If the dice is lower or equal to their agility, they can act in the quick actions phase of the turn. Then the enemies act on the enemy's turn, and then the rest of the heroes act on the slow action phase of the turn. Ronin the Mystic is the quickest, so he will start with a spell casting barrier on 2d6 roll of 6+, which protects the heroes. Then the orcs move and try to get closer. The lieutenant with the crossbow has nothing to shoot at. The red die is the enemy, the white dice is the hero. The yellow orc manages to attack the UV but misses. There are 3 exchanges in each melee combat. UV hits on the second exchange. The orc has no armor and UV beats the orc toughness of 4 with a 6, killing the orc. The heroes start moving forward. Garrod tries to cast a fog spell but misses. Titus attacks. Titus moves and attacks using a technique called Fight Furiously, which gives him +1 to beat the toughness or the armor, and kills the orc. The rest of the heroes move forward, most using dash. There is a morale phase for the enemies at the end of the turn. It is 1d6 for each enemy slain, and on a natural 1 and natural 2, the enemy leaves the table. Enemy leaders only run away when there are fewer than 4 enemies remaining. In this case, 1 orc left the table. Next turn, roll 1d6 for each hero and assign some dice. Ronin the Mystic is again the fastest one, alongside Garrod and Titus. I move and attack with Titus. He hits and beats the orc toughness, so the orc dies. Garrod the Crow moves 6 and tries to cast the fog spell with a 6+, and he does. He places a fog to block line of sight to the orc with the crossbow. It is a 3 inches diameter fog. Running moves and tries to cast Weaken spell on the lieutenant, trying to remove the tough ability, but fails. On the enemy turn, the lieutenant fires his crossbow at Tortor, which is the only figure he can see. He remains stationary and can add his combat bonus to the attack, but it is 0. On a 5+ to hit, the orc fails. The next orc moves to attack Juvi, fails. Juvi attacks and fails, and the orc attacks again and fails, and they get separated 1 inch. This orc moves and attacks Titus and hits, but cannot penetrate Titus' armor of 2. Titus attacks, but the orc beats Titus, hits Titus and beats his armor and toughness. The orc wounds Titus and Titus is stunned, then gets separated. Tortor wants to help Titus, so engages the orc. Both fail and they get separated. In the middle of the table, the Juvi beats the orc and kills him. And at the end of the turn, all the orcs leave the table. I'm just gonna put him in the middle of the table to interrogate him. In the resolution part of the battle, I get an adventure point for beating a lieutenant. Titus is injured, so we roll on the injury table and he has to miss one encounter. I could use a luck point to prevent that, but I won't. Titus will miss the next turn. Now for the loot table. We roll percent and we get a tool. We roll another percent and the tool was a strange map. In this scenario, I was able to hold the field, so that is another percent roll on an unusual finds table. I got an 8, so nothing interesting. On the news table, I find a delve under a settlement. All surviving members get an experience point, and one more experience point for holding the field. And this is how the Ingore map looks now. The crossed swords represent the past battle. The orc lieutenant gave us an old map of a delve under Invidia and told us how to enter the old tower nearby. Also, an unexplored location has appeared on the map. If you find any mistakes, please let me know so I can pin it and fix it on the next playthrough. We also have a Patreon, so you can help us build more videos like this. The link is on the description below. Subscribe to see more 5 leaks from the Borderlands videos.